You know, your mind, and that's what I'm doing. I keep putting information to make sure that my life is way ahead of my mind is way ahead of my life. I'm running to catch up with my mind, with the imaginations of my mind. And so when that happens, when I've flooded my mind with enough information about where I want to be and my mind is gone, my mind, my present, my body cannot stay. My mind will yank it out of the present and take it to where it wants to be. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then there comes this dampener called fear. Mm-hmm. I have this big picture. I know that I'm capable of achieving this. But something just tells you, hold it there, hold it there.
That something is the devil. Look, fear is a choice. Let me give you an example. When I was growing up, the definition of fear is false evidence appearing real. Fear. When I was growing up, I think my mother had a nasty experience with water at some time in her life. So when we were growing up, we could not accidentally be found near a swimming pool. I mean, my mother's fear was so passed on to us, we feared water. You know, I could literally drown in the bath. You know, that fear. And I found out I was transferring that fear to my children. And I realized this is not right. So I was staying in a coastal place, and my house, there was a gate leading into the ocean. And I would see people swimming on my part of the water. I see people swimming. And I get so frustrated, you know, but I was held by my fear. So I got somebody who understood water, understood how to swim, understood the dynamics. And he would come and teach me how to swim, you know. And man, I drank water from the ocean. It was not easy. And then to compound matters, one day in my quest for knowledge, I'm going to look at the depth of the Indian Ocean, and I see it's was it 8 kilometers or some ridiculous thing. I said, I'm out of here. I can drown in a bath. Now I'm swimming in how many kilometers of water? I said, forget it. But then the vision, and that's what I'm saying, if the vision is strong enough, the present cannot hold you. The vision held me. And one day, you know, I could move around as long as I could feel the ground. Now, when I can't feel the ground, I really freak out and I don't know what to do. Then one day, it was a revelation. I find out when I'm in the water, when I'm lying down, when I'm able to float in the water, my feet are not touching the ground. Whether it's 2 feet of water, whether it is 100 feet, whether it is 100 meters. If I'm floating, my feet are not touching the ground. So I realized that the depth of water was in my mind. And once I got rid of that, you know what? I jumped in the ocean and I began to swim. And the fear that my children had also was, we all went in water, we began to swim. Because I said the fear, the depth of water is in your mind. If you can get over that fear in your mind, you will get over it in your life. All right? So fear is false evidences appearing real. Fear is giving more importance to the negative than to the positive. Fear is giving more attention to what can go wrong than what can go right. So it's a choice.
So deal with it in the mind.
Oh, deal with it in your mind. And one way to deal with it is information. If I came into this room and there was no light on, it was dark, right? And totally dark, and I come in and I hear a sound in the corner, I'll get scared, isn't it? But if I came into this room and I knew exactly where the light switch was, if I hear the sound, what do? I switch on the light. Information, knowledge deals with fear. You know, so wherever there is fear, where fear is present, it is evidence that there is a deficiency of information somewhere. You know, I mean, come on, think of it. There are things that a person will fear, A will fear, B won't fear. There are some people who have a chronic fear of flying. Yet there are some people, that's what they do for a living. They love it. Because they have an understanding. Just like when people see me, I remember I had some friends, and we went out on a yacht, and went far out into sea. And, I just started swimming, so I needed to show off a bit. So while I'm talking to them, I'm standing on deck, and I just let myself go. And I fall into the ocean. And all of them go, ah! Then I come out and I laugh with so much attitude. I felt so good. Why were they scared? Because they didn't know what I knew about water. So anytime there is fear, it is evidence that there is something else you need to know.
Mm-hmm. Something else, as we discuss this, failure. Mm-hmm. You're forging ahead, but you encounter failure. Mm-hmm. How do you deal with it? How do you pick yourself up from failure to move forward to what you want to achieve?
Failure is a figment of people's imagination, because success is never a straight line. Success goes like this, like this, like this, like this, and then go. So when you have outcomes that are not what you desired, don't call them failure. You don't fail until you declare it a failure. I mean, look at someone like Abraham Lincoln, who is one of my greatest examples. The guy literally failed his way into the White House. I mean, he had been defeated in virtually every election. There was one more election he had not been defeated. I think his thinking probably was that, there's only one election I've not yet lost. Let me try to complete the cycle. And he became president. It reminds me of a guy who his marriage didn't work, his business didn't work, nothing worked. Then one day he woke up and he said, you know what? I am very good at something. I'm a successful failure. So he writes a book on how to fail successfully, and the book becomes a bestseller. Failure also is a choice. Now, when you have outcomes that don't work, all right, I've been through that before, and the higher you go, the more public your failures, I mean, first thing that happens is stop. Don't blame anybody, because it's very easy to now become the victim. Oh, they did this, get over that. You blew it. Take responsibility. Then do an audit. Why did it not work? Because if you do not find out why it did not work, we'll repeat it again. The only failure is the person who did not find out why it did not work the first time. Then why didn't it work? What are the things I need to put in place? What are the structures I need to put in place now to ensure that I will do well the next time? And then get out and do it again. So that's the way to deal with that. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you, only those who dare to fail greatly will ever achieve success. Think of it. Only those who dare to lose sight of the shore will ever discover new lands.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's a pioneering spirit that really should rule our lives as we are seeking for new realities.
Oh yeah.
For a better future.
Oh yeah, because stagnation is a curse. Stagnation. Nobody was made to be stagnant. Mm-hmm. The path of the just is like a shining light. We must grow daily. When you stop growing, you start dying. And I ask people, again, I go to books. I say, your life is stagnant. Then I ask a simple question. How many new books have you read this year or this month? And somebody says, well, nothing. Come on. Then what did you expect? You have not added to your information, and yet you're keeping input constant, and you're expecting a different output. That doesn't make sense. We have to keep increasing the input, and then we now expect a different output.
Mm-hmm.